Today we're going to make some cinnamon rolls, cinnamon buns. They're going to be a little bit different. They're not the regular average cinnamon buns because, first of all, because we're going through this coronavirus and we don't have all the items that we need, so we're going to make do. We're going to improvise. So to start, I'm just going to explain to you what I have here. For the filling, I have some brown sugar and some cinnamon, ground cinnamon, but I mixed the ground cinnamon with a bit of cloves, a little bit of allspice, a little bit of ginger, mostly cinnamon, about 2 to 1, a bit of nutmeg, and yeah, that's it. And brown sugar, and I'm using a teaspoon of, now this is for the topping, a teaspoon of cornstarch, a cup of sweetened condensed milk. I'm using 100 grams of finely shredded mozzarella cheese that I shredded right here. This is what I'm going to make the icing with. And I have not done this before, this icing with mozzarella cheese, but I know it's going to work. Of course, some vanilla. And we're going to brush the inside of some melted butter before we put the cinnamon and the sugar. Now for the flour, for the dough, I'm going to make my regular sourdough that you already know. So I have it's a half cup of water and 2 cups of unbleached flour, and I'm going to start mixing that. And I have to give it a hand because there's very little, and the hook will not be able to reach it right away until I let it. And I'm not going to use any other liquid, so a half a cup of water, 2 cups of flour, and of course my sourdough starter. I'm going to use about 200 grams of that. That's going to be plenty. And of course, as you can see, I always use my really thick sourdough starter. And that's going to start off our dough. That's about 200 grams there. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and of course you can see our sourdough is exactly the same, same humidity, same wetness, same dough. I'm just making less. So I'm not gonna show you the dough all the way through. It's exactly the same every time. Then when we put it together, I'll show you that. And of course, the icing is gonna be the main part. I'll see you in a bit. And of course, my salt. Just a bit of salt, not a lot, just a pinch. My dough has been kneading for about 5 minutes now, almost. I'm gonna knead it for a couple more minutes, but you can see it's already come together beautifully. It's a sweet, silky, very wet dough, which is exactly what we need. So it's enough. It's about almost 5 minutes I needed it. Almost 10 minutes. So I'm gonna take it out now. It's ready. I'm gonna roll it on here. I'm gonna flour my surface a little bit. I'm gonna work over my flat top here. As you can see, the dough is very, very wet. You're going to see that. But it's beautiful. Look at that. Look at this. Perfect, perfect dough. It doesn't need a lot of work, as you can see. I just want it to relax a bit so I can roll it out. And put in the filling, the sugar and the cinnamon. And there's just a bit of flour so we can be easier to work with. And of course, always clean as you go. That's the best practice when you're cooking in the kitchen. Clean as you go. Now we'll just let it sit for a couple of minutes, let it relax, and we'll come and roll it out. Okay, now while our dough is resting, I'm gonna start for the icing. First, let me put my 1 cup of sweetened condensed milk in my saucepan. Make sure I take everything. I don't want to waste any. I'm going to put my cornstarch. A drop of vanilla. This is our homemade vanilla here. That's And that's plenty. And of course, I have to whisk this properly, make sure there's no lumps. Completely no lumps. So the cornstarch has to be absolutely dissolved all the way. And I'm going to turn on the heat. I'm going to start at a medium. And you see all our cornstarch has completely dissolved. There's no lumps in the sweetened condensed milk. And then I'm just going to start to add my cheese slowly. And the idea is I want to melt the cheese. And I will put a little pinch of salt in there as well. Just a little pinch of kosher salt. And I'm going to continue doing this until all the cheese has melted and the consistency is very nice, creamy and silky. And then I'll let it boil for a few minutes. Well, not boil, just not boil hard. I want to evaporate some of the liquid. And that's it. Okay, I just added my last bit of cheese, and you have to keep stirring this. You have to keep whisking this. You can't leave it alone the whole time you're doing it. You can't leave it alone because it's going to burn. And I need it to get very hot and start to evaporate and condense a little bit more. We need that to become like icing. The reason why we're doing this, because there's no icing sugar and there's no cream cheese available right now. So we're improvising, and it smells good. It looks fantastic. I just want it to get to a creamy consistency. And I'm going to let that boil for a few minutes. Just like that. And if you find it gets too thick, add a little bit more vanilla and that's it. Just a drop more vanilla. But I have a feeling it's working just fine. So I'm going to turn off the fire now and keep whisking. There. At this point, to cool it off, just a drop more vanilla and that's it. And whisk very quickly after. Just a drop. There. That smells good. And there we go. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna become perfect icing instead of cream cheese and icing sugar. Condensed milk and mozzarella cheese with a bit of vanilla. There we go. So we let our dough rest. We're rolling it out now. Just gonna roll it nice. It's still gonna be pretty thick. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Just want to release it. There, perfect. Fantastic. I'm gonna put my butter on. Make sure to put lots of butter everywhere. It's about 2 tablespoons of melted butter here. 2 large tablespoons. I think that'll be enough. Perfect. And here I have my cinnamon and spice mixture and my brown sugar. I'm going to mix it together so I don't have to put it on twice. It's about 4 very large tablespoons of brown sugar and 3 teaspoons of my cinnamon, and mixed with my allspice and cloves that I ground. So I have to mix it well, and I'll use as much as I need. Mix it very well. You have to put plenty. I'm going to use it all. There you go. Make sure it's all covered everywhere. There we go. Oh, the smell of cinnamon is fantastic. And I'm going to press it down like that. Press it down like that. Don't press too much because you don't want the dough to stick to the bottom, but just you can press it down like this. And now start rolling. And I want to seal the sides here. And roll pretty tight. I have to roll pretty tight. There. Make sure it's all well sealed. Press the ends a bit. And I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes, a couple of minutes, so it expands a bit and it soaks. So when we cut into it, our cinnamon, our sugar don't just start falling apart and falling out. We can cut it up, put it on the tray, and put it in the oven. I'm gonna bake this in the oven at about 450 degrees for about 25-30 minutes, maybe a little longer, until it's well cooked. And then we're gonna put on the icing. You're gonna have the best cinnamon buns ever. I'll see you in a minute. So we let it sit for a couple of minutes, and now we're gonna cut it, form it. I could make them smaller, but I like my cinnamon rolls large. So there we go, like that. Like this. Those look fantastic. And we're gonna let these rise for a couple of hours. Maybe a little less. We'll see how long it takes them to rise, because our sourdough starter is very active. So, and then bake them. There we go. A couple of nice big ones right here. And we'll let these sit and we'll bake them when they rise. Cinnamon rolls from here to this pan. I'm gonna bake them in this pan because it's gonna be a lot better, because they will expand. And I want to maintain the liquids inside as much as possible, because the brown sugar is going to, as you can see, and this is going to be perfect. There we go. Perfect. That's perfect. Yes, I think I'm going to bake them in here. Same baking time, 450 degrees for about 25-30 minutes, or until they're cooked properly. Yes, I'll see you then. Okay, my cinnamon rolls have been sitting for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, almost, I think an hour and 40 minutes or so. I'm gonna brush them with a little bit of butter. They've raised a bit, well, a lot actually. My oven is preheated. This is just some melted butter. I want them to be nice and brown and shiny and full of flavor. These will be delicious, delicious cinnamon rolls. I know that. Make sure everywhere gets some butter. So 450 degrees, maybe about 25, 30 minutes, however long it takes to bake them. They're gonna be nice and golden brown all around. And that's it. I'm gonna put them in the oven now. And I'll see you then. Yeah, it's been there about 25 minutes. Exactly 25 minutes. And they look fantastic. Look at that. I'm going to turn off the oven. And I'm going to spread, while they're still hot, our icing. Again, if you remember, this is mozzarella cheese instead of cream cheese because I don't have any cream cheese available. There. That's going to be delicious. Smother it everywhere as much as I can. I think that's plenty. And that's our cinnamon rolls. And just show some of the cinnamon there. There we go. And that's done. Homemade sourdough cinnamon rolls. In a few minutes, I'm going to take one out and I'm going to taste it and see what it's like. Very hot, delicious, cinnamon rolls. Oh, that cheese is so good. Oh my God. Oh, this is fantastic. Look at this. Oh, that's fantastic. Delicious. Gooey. Sweet, full of cinnamon flavor. Oh, it's the perfect cinnamon roll, really, truly. And that mozzarella cheese icing is out of this world. I wonder why we didn't think of that before. This is to die for. Really good. That's it, there we have it. A improvised cinnamon roll during the coronavirus. Please do like. I know you're gonna love it if you try. Try to make it. Like, subscribe, and share our videos. And until next time, be safe and be healthy. Bye for now.